Every morning, the little boy tried to kiss the bull mastiff. Every morning, the bull mastiff would turn his head away, not growling, not stepping back, just quietly turn his head as if searching for something else. Lucas thought Duke didn't love him. He was wrong. Duke loved him more deeply than any of them could understand. Before watching any further, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss another touching story. And write in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is for you right now. Lucas was 2 years old. He had light hair, brown eyes, and so much energy that any room felt smaller with him in it. He had loved Duke from the moment he learned to walk. Duke was 4 years old, a 130-pound bull mastiff with a black coat, huge, calm, and quiet. He had been Tom's dog long before Lucas was born, before everything changed. From the very first morning Lucas learned to run, he would run to Duke. It was the same ritual every single day. Lucas would find Duke in his usual spot by the back door, walk up close, lift his little face, and say, "Kiss, Duke, kiss." Duke would lower his massive head, bring his nose close to Lucas's lips, slowly and deeply inhale, and then turn away. Lucas would stand there with his face still raised, waiting. "Kiss Duke." Duke never kissed him. "He just doesn't kiss," Tom said the first time Sarah mentioned it. "Some dogs are like that. But he does this every morning the same way. He gets very close and then just turns away." Tom looked across the room at Duke, who was sleeping by the couch, all 130 pounds, completely still. He loves the kid. Look at him. He follows him everywhere. "I know he loves him," Sarah said. "It's the way he smells him." Sarah paused. "He's so focused," she said quietly. Tom looked at her. "Sarah, he's a dog. He smells everything." Sarah looked at Duke, then at Lucas, who was sleeping on the floor just 3 feet away from him. She noticed Duke's half-closed eyes, which even in sleep seemed to follow the boy. "Not like this," she said. Tom didn't reply, but she could see from his face that he thought she was overreacting. After that, she started watching more carefully. It wasn't just a morning ritual. On some days, Duke would smell Lucas and quickly turn away. Those were normal days. Lucas would run around, laugh, and eat everything on his plate. On other days, Duke would smell Lucas and stay close. He wouldn't play or run after him. He would simply stand there, pressing against Lucas's legs all morning. On those days, Lucas was different. Quieter, paler around the eyes. He would push away his breakfast, sit on the floor instead of running, and ask to be held. One evening, Sarah said to Tom, "On the days when Duke doesn't leave his side, Lucas isn't himself." Tom looked up from his phone. "Kids have bad days." "Every single time, Tom. Every time Duke stays close, Lucas is pale and tired." "Correlation is not causation," Tom replied, putting down his phone. "You're looking for a pattern that isn't there." Sarah looked at Duke and at Lucas, who was sleeping pressed against the dog's side. Duke's nose rested on top of the boy's head. Those dark, calm eyes looked back at her. "Maybe," she said, but she didn't mean it. 2 weeks later, Tom decided he had enough. "I'm going to teach him to kiss on command." The kid asks every morning and gets rejected every morning. It's not good for him. "Please don't, Tom. Just leave it alone." Tom looked at her. "You think the dog is doing this on purpose?" "I think the dog is doing it for a reason." "What reason?" She had no answer. "Not yet. Just leave it," she said again. Tom left it, but she could see it was bothering him. He had already formed an opinion about Duke. Indifferent, cold, not the right dog for a family with a small child. He hadn't said it out loud yet, but it was coming. The next morning, Lucas ran to Duke as usual with his face raised. "Kiss, Duke. Kiss." Duke lowered his head, took a slow breath, and turned away. Lucas stood there longer than usual, still waiting with his face lifted. Then his little shoulders dropped. "Duke doesn't love me," he said quietly and walked away. Sarah watched him go, her throat tightening. She looked at Duke. Duke was already following Lucas with his eyes, never looking away for even a second. That night, Sarah couldn't sleep. She lay in the dark, thinking about Lucas's drooping shoulders, that small, defeated walk across the room, and Duke's eyes that had followed him the entire way. One Tuesday morning in November, Sarah was in the kitchen when she heard Lucas Kiss, Duke. Kiss. As always, she looked through the doorway. Lucas had his face raised. Duke lowered his huge head. His nose was almost touching Lucas's lips. But this time, Duke didn't turn away. He stayed there, nose right by the lips, completely still. Sarah watched. 10 seconds. 20. 30. Lucas giggled. Duke didn't move. His nostrils worked quickly and precisely. Something was wrong. Then Duke made a sound she had never heard before. Low. Not a bark. Almost like a word. He lifted his head and looked straight at Sarah. Not at Lucas. At her. His eyes were calm and waiting. Sarah's heart stopped. She crossed the kitchen in 4 steps and knelt in front of Lucas. He looked normal, smiling and reaching for Duke. Baby, how do you feel? Good, Mommy. Duke kissed me. Sarah placed her hand on his forehead. It was cool, normal. She looked at Duke. Duke was watching Lucas with the same calm, waiting gaze. Tom, she called. Her voice sounded wrong. Tom, come here right now. The hospital waiting room was quiet that morning. Dr. Emily Ross was measuring Lucas's blood sugar level while Sarah held his hand. Lucas thought it was a game. He sat still better than Sarah had expected. Dr. Ross looked at the result, then at Sarah. 38, she said quietly. Your son's blood sugar level is 38 milligrams per deciliter. That's very low. She paused. How did you know to bring him in? Sarah looked at Lucas, who was playing with a sticker the nurse had given him. The dog, she said. Dr. Ross paused for a moment, then picked up the phone. Dr. James Carter had kind eyes and a gentle voice. He sat across from them and explained everything slowly. Lucas had type 1 diabetes. His pancreas wasn't producing insulin. That morning, he had suffered a hypoglycemic episode. His blood sugar had dropped to a dangerous level. Tom's hands rested on his knees. How long has this been going on? Based on what you described, the fatigue, the pale days, loss of appetite, it's likely been happening for several months. Dr. Carter paused. The good news is we caught it before serious seizure. He looked at Sarah. You mentioned the dog. He's been sniffing Lucas's mouth every morning since the boy was old enough to walk up to him. But today he didn't turn away. He just stood there and then he looked at me. Dr. Carter nodded slowly. Dogs can detect chemical changes in human breath caused by fluctuations in blood sugar levels, specifically ketones, a byproduct that appears when sugar drops. The change in scent can precede visible symptoms by 20 to 30 minutes. He paused. This isn't only true for trained dogs. Any dog with a strong bond can develop this reaction spontaneously. He looked at both of them carefully. In young children, mild hypoglycemic episodes often appear as fatigue or irritability. They're almost impossible to distinguish from just a bad day. He leaned forward slightly. Your dog wasn't refusing to kiss your son. Every morning, he was reading his breath. He was watching over him. The room seemed to tilt. Sarah remembered every morning. Lucas with his face raised. Kiss, Duke. Kiss. Duke turning away. Not rejection. Reading. Result, normal. Safe. You can go. She remembered the days when Duke stayed close. The pale days. The quiet days. Duke pressing against Lucas's legs all morning. Standing guard. He was telling me, she whispered. On the days he wouldn't leave his side, he was telling me something was wrong. Dr. Carter looked at her. Yes, he said quietly. He was telling you. Tom made a sound beside her. She didn't look at him. She already knew what his face looked like. Tom slowly crossed the room and knelt on one knee in front of the bull mastiff. Duke didn't move. Those dark, calm eyes. That huge, kind face. I called you indifferent, Tom said softly. I wanted to teach you to kiss him on command. His voice cracked. And all this time you were saving his life? Duke pressed his nose against Tom's hand. Tom's shoulders dropped. He placed both hands on the dog's massive head and stayed there. 6 weeks later, Lucas had a monitor, a small sensor on his arm with numbers on a screen. Sarah now understood them. One Thursday morning, Lucas woke up and ran to Duke. Same place, same ritual. Lucas lifted his little face. Kiss, Duke. Kiss. Duke lowered his head, inhaled slowly near Lucas's lips, paused, and then, for For the first time, he licked Lucas on the cheek. Lucas screamed with joy and turned to Sarah. "Mommy, Duke kissed me." His whole face was glowing. "He loves me." Sarah pressed her hand to her mouth. "He always loved you, baby," she said, her voice trembling. "He always loved you." She slid down the wall, hand still over her mouth, and finally let herself cry. Did this story touch your heart? If your dog turned away every time your child tried to kiss them, would you understand why? Yes or no? Write it in the comments right now. If this story moved you, please like this video and subscribe. It means a lot to us. Thank you for being with us today. See you in the next video. Have a wonderful day.